I'm a survivor of 20 years of cult abuse, including child trafficking. The system failed me, and here's why I'm now training law enforcement to identify and combat child trafficking and exploitation, and why law enforcement needs training, because most people think it's the opposite. So let's talk about the facts, right? Most people assume that law enforcement is given expert training and they know exactly. So number one, there's a huge need to correct the premise and define what is trafficking, child exploitation, and all the different nuances, and the difference between things like sex work or pornography or other things that people often misconstrue as the same thing or the same problem. If we don't understand the problem, we are not able to solve the problem. So the pretty word for this is trauma-informed. There are a lot of NGOs and organizations that are claiming to combat sex trafficking, but they're actually just anti-porn or anti-sex work. Unfortunately, a lot of times these people offer education that is tailored to sex work, but it's not helpful for sex trafficking. So law enforcement is given an incorrect premise from which to start from. And we're not actually effective in solving problems that way. This means the real victims get missed. People are misidentified as victims who might actually be there consensually to make a living as adults. And then we don't have a trauma-informed process to identify who's a real victim and how to actually help them. Way too many times law enforcement has intervened and made things worse. So yes, I've recognized these problems, and I'm here to help solve these problems, because no matter how you feel about law enforcement, let's all agree on something. It'd be great if they were actually helpful with these situations regarding child exploitation, right? To do that, they need training. They can't just make up a protocol on the spot, right? They're very sensitive situations with kids and the adults and all the different dynamics of what's happening here. There's ways to do it better. Let's start there. There's so many complexities when it comes to trafficking, and especially involving minors. The psychology, the coercion, the grooming, all the different patterns of it, how scripted the victims are. If we're looking for the wrong things, we're going to miss the real victims, and then we're not going to know how to actually help them. The other aspect of that is that the training needs to be targeted to the department or the unit, because there's a lot of very general training, right? So number one, like, the premise needs to be correct. We need to be talking about trafficking, not sex work. But number two, if we're just giving generalized training and it's not actionable, we're just collecting charts and making data pretty, but we're not actually acting off of it, right? So I train law enforcement at the Ranch, Texas. It's a law enforcement and government training facility. We do a lot of really cool programs here. It's ranchtx.org. But we also tailor the training to actually be actionable, meaning it's a different set of information for the investigative units, the ICAC, the detectives, all of that, than it is for the patrol officers, the SWAT, the task force, the boots on the ground people, right? You need different specifics. They need to be well trained on what to actually do when they encounter bad things in their realm. So the better we understand the problem, the better we can handle it, report it correctly, and